In every kingdom, there is a story, there is an origin, there is a history. Civil war is a major part of a kingdom's history. Most kingdoms that are successful have gone through civil wars. Of course, there is also other kingdoms that goes through a civil war that doesn't become successful. But for the majority of the things in here that I've noticed and experienced, civil war is quite healthy because there is a lot of players starting out in a kingdom, a lot of ego and a lot of pride because everyone wants to be the top dog. Everyone wants to be the ruler, right? Your team wants to be the number one. Your team wants to be the best. And that's completely normal. This is why we play the game. You want to be good. You want to have the best team. You want to be well known within the game. You want your kingdom. You want to show it to everyone that your kingdom is actually worthy. But along the way, you are going to stumble upon certain people that does not have the same mindset as you are. And that's where the fun begins in Rise of Kingdoms. The drama, the civil war, these are the fun things that I truly enjoy in Rise of Kingdoms. And in the beginning, when I started playing game, I had a lot of drama, had a lot of politics. And imagine when I first started, there is no such thing as migration. That's even worse. But now there is a migration that allows players to leave the kingdom and move somewhere else. Civil war, I believe, is healthy to a server, in a server stability. All right. Now, I've experienced some civil war. When I was in 1253, we had some civil war. They were targeting me as a content creator. They didn't want me to be the ruler. They didn't want me to become the alliance leader of my alliance. They want to replace me, remove me. It was a lot of personal targeting. So I understand what this player, King J, is going through here in 2953. I kind of relate a little bit with some of the similarities of what I've been seeing with the comments and the stories of both teams that have mentioned to me. So I try to look at this in a bird's eye view because I read a lot of the comments as well. And there were some comments that really reflected to what type of players certain players are. Now, I'm not going to say that the faction is bad. I think there are certain players who act or become a little bit aggressive towards to their typing. Maybe they are a little bit more passionate with the game, but also maybe that they couldn't do anything within the gameplay, and therefore they have to resort into some words that are not quite friendly. Now, we are going to look into some of the comments that I saw. We're going to try to look at it and give you my opinion. Like I said, when I was in 1253, we had a civil war. And I eventually left that kingdom because it was not healthy. And after I left that kingdom, I kind of avoided anything related to it. Yes, I did talk to 1254 back then. And I said to Bunny, please go ahead and kill them because I did not like them. And they were really, they had more power to me. I was, they had more of the whale. And I even submitted to 1253 at that point and said, hey, I literally just want to keep my alliance. I'd love to stay in this kingdom. You guys can be the ruler of, the kingdom. We'll support you. But it wasn't enough because there are actually players that are bullies in the game. And they will do anything to strip your power out of it and to basically assert dominance. And certain things that I see in here, players tried to assert a dominance, but they asserted their dominance into the wrong person because this person actually has the power. Back then, in my experience, I didn't have the power. I wasn't the biggest spender that time. That's why I lost 1253 and I left and I took my whole team and we migrated into 228. So let me show you what is happening now in 2953. I'm finally able to see the kingdom in here. And what we can see is that J01 has now secured the lost temple. Well, they still have to capture this, but I'm sure they will be able to capture this. They still have a strong core alliance in here. So when I was reading some of the comments, players were saying oh, they are going to be leaving. A lot of players are moving, blah, 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 those kind of stuff. But when I looked at this, there's still 95 out of 98 players in the main alliance. And then also, let's take a look into Jack 1 in here. There is 55 over 79. Okay, so now they have only one strong alliance. And yeah, that could be an issue within the game. But here's the thing, what's nice about Rise of Kingdoms. I don't know what's the plan or path of 2953 with King J, if they are going to be an Imperium Kingdom one day or just going to be a lower seed. But for my case, that I can tell you, like for example here in 2581, we are not an Imperium Kingdom. We only need, you only really need a one strong alliance or maybe a two strong alliance. So I don't see that this kingdom is going to get hurt much. Maybe they'll get hurt a little bit on KVK1, but after that, they're not going to. Once the seeds have settled, they're going to be a very stable kingdom where, the leadership in this kingdom, once it's structured, they will have a like-minded players playing for the server. And the players in here can have a lot of fun. So we got some comments in here that we want to present to you guys. There's a lot of comments regarding with the situation. There's a lot of back and forth. But a few things that I noticed. There was a lot of negative towards Jackie. But what caught my surprise is if a person is actually bad, right? If a person is actually bad, then there's really no supporting clause, right? There's no supporting people that are going to come out and say, hey, he's actually good. So there's a comment here. People crying about Jackie when an entire alliance migrated to our kingdom and is bragging about killing our troops. Kingdom 53 lost in fighting. 50 million troops within 3 days. Is that a heart? I think that's a heart. Kingdom 53 lost in fighting. Alliance 70 million troops in total within 4 days. Now, the one that we deemed as a rogue alliance, right, within the kingdom, is we said, apparently attacks their farms. They don't cooperate with Jay, and instead they want to ruin with civil war. They probably migrated to our kingdom thinking they could be in charge, but was surprised by Jay and his power. Instead of working with him and building the kingdom, they attack all his alliances. So that's quite interesting. Now, I mentioned earlier, sometimes there are situations where egos plays a big role in Rise of Kingdoms. Players want to impose their knowledge and their rules to somebody, and if you don't follow my rule, you don't listen to what I say, you are my enemy. So what I am seeing from this comment is that it's saying in here that the certain alliance came into the kingdom and said, hey, we have our structure. Maybe they're a jumper group. Hey, we have our jump group. This is what we plan. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to rule this kingdom. We're going to impose certain restrictions, certain events. We're going to control it. We're going to do our thing. But then they faced a wall. And that wall was a very strong wall. Therefore, they had a little bit of a challenge, an obstacle along the way. Now, how can I get rid of this wall? It's also what I experienced back in the day when I was in 1253. It's a smear campaign, right? So I don't know exactly every single little detail that happens, but I could kind of relate from seeing the comments and seeing the attitude of certain players when they leave the comment. It kind of make me realize that, why are these guys so aggressive in the comments? Like, I'm seeing people like this guy who is not trying to attack, somebody. Rather, what he's doing is he's trying to present what happened instead. And he's not saying, oh, this guy sucks. This certain alliance is terrible. This certain alliance is bad. That's when people are like that, I could definitely see that group could possibly be a toxic group. So that's my, kind of like assessment so far when reading all these comments in here. Now, there's another comment. Somebody even says, King J is a good king. He is strict and fair. He destroys those who are not worthy of being in KVK. You need to have order in your army to be successful. If everyone in their individual alliances followed his instruction, we would have an unstoppable kingdom. See? People have egos. Oh, wow. They are proud and don't like being told what to do instead of following Jackie, who is really nice guy off game. They push back, and while his powers speak for us what the end result is. So I assume these are coming from the followers of King J. I've seen comments saying, "Oh, the kingdom is gonna die. The kingdom is going to, lose people." But yes, that is quite true. They are going to be losing certain amount of players who are against the faction, but with the kingdom migration, they're going to open up, and I think, he has good core team here, and when the migration opens, they can recruit, and we can see that this kingdom can flourish because every kingdom must go through civil war, and then they can recruit like-minded people to play with them. Somebody left a comment in here. It's saying, if you want to know the real story, feel free to ask me. I won't sugarcoat. People play for having fun and making friends, not manipulating, controlling, humiliating people when the person doesn't want to be controlled. If UFO what they are saying they don't need to bring their armies to be migrating with them. If UFO good leadership, they should take kingdom with real new people without connection. King J told to send us reinforcement and not to lose troops because King J care of his loyal people, especially that the people that not much spending money on their account and still can have fun on the game. So what I see here so far is that King J really cares about his teammates to where he also considers these free to play, that he doesn't want them to just die off in the field, and he wants them to actually flourish. And it's sad that it's going, it's happening right now, with all the civil war. Now it says here, to Semper and others who are allies of UFO, do you have something better to do rather than bother people's life, humiliating them, and say that you always right and perfect? People play for fun, not being controlled by you people. If you are jealous and greedy of power and controlling, why don't you spend your money and make yourself a whale? So with the statements in here, I kind of relate a little bit because I know there's certain parts of my gaming in Rise of Kingdoms that, I don't really like to be controlled. I don't like to be told how I'm going to play things. I get it. In Rise of Kingdoms, there's structures. It's an organization. There is councils and all that stuff. But if you can build a kingdom, if I can be in a kingdom without the certain structure, I would love it. If it's a little bit more free, I can definitely enjoy. Of course, you have a little bit of an organization structure, but too much structure is kind of annoying. Honestly, when the first time MGE controlling came out, I was really against it. Now I just pretty much accept it because you can't really battle that against other people. But there's also a certain aspect to control MGE. Of course, the main purpose of it is for lower spending, but at the same time, certain kingdoms that does control MGE have politics in it. They pick their friends to win the MGE. So there is a little bit of good and bad in those type of aspect of, all these rules, right? There's always favoritism and bias. I find this comment to be very, very interesting. There will always be an authoritative alliance in a new kingdom that wants to dominate and raise the lower alliance. Once they stumble with a whale, they will be spanked so hard. Unfortunately, I was not a whale, and my not so strong alliance got destroyed just because of one wood node. Oh my god, that's crazy. That's so little. We fought back for weeks, but eventually fallen. Nice to see some retribution playing here. So I see a supporter here, but it's kind of nice to see that the comments in here are quite interesting. It's saying that, yeah, there are alliances there. They're authoritative, and they want to, bring the authority to everyone. Follow my rules. This is the rules. If you don't do this, you are against me. I'm gonna destroy who you are. But apparently, like I said, for what informations I've gathered within 2953, is that King J is a little bit more of a free style gamer, and I like it. It's really interesting. And what's interesting is that they try to impose a rule to him, and he didn't really like it. He's like, probably, I don't know exact detail. It was probably like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to listen to you. It's dumb. And then they probably said, oh, you're now noob because you don't want to listen to us. Now you're a bad player because you don't want to listen to us. You don't want to take our advice. And I think that's kind of rude to do that. And I think it's not even fair to even use that, right? Like, if you don't listen to me, you're a noob. If you don't listen to me, you suck. The game is free to play. No one owns a server. Lilith, at the end of the day, still owns the server, not us, right? So the game is absolutely free to play. Do whatever you want, right? But at the end of the day, it's a survival of the fittest. Who can survive within the kingdom gets to pretty much, do their organization structure. So apparently this is the one that we saw who got zeroed in the video. It's saying, if you need verification, let me know, but no one was bullying Jackie. It's the other way around. I like how the topics in here are like, okay, it's him, not me. But then somebody says here, I don't believe a single word. You UFO guys were the only one bullied us back in 51 before you migrated. So I guess there's a little bit of history with a certain group here. Apparently they bullied, players in 51, then they left. Somebody says, I'm from Older Kingdom, but for what I see, it's King J Alliance forts burning and reduced to a single square. I don't know, but you guys are bullying a whale you can't handle, said there. He replied here, that was a fort. Okay, actually, this is correct. That was a fort built to try to attack our alliance. He tried to wipe off everyone he didn't like in the Zone 3 and tried to do the same in Zone 2. He pretty much said, either do as I say or I'll wipe you out. Well, in a civil war, it's completely acceptable to say that. Like, if you're not going to listen to me, right, I'll just wipe you off. That's 100%. I support that, because if you're just attacking players in my team, then I got to attack you and kill you and just remove you out, right? So I think that's a fair statement. That's a fair point. I think that's okay. He says here, reply, well, I guess you fight that out. I was a victim of an alliance authoritarianism. I was a victim of an alliance authoritarianism. Oh my God, that word is kind of hard. So I rooted for a single player who fights you. Regardless, you can't wittingly impose the top alliance law if you clash with the whales, unless your alliance has a bunch of whales too. I love that statement. I love that. And thank you for subscribing. I had to get under 10 million to migrate, so I kind of needed those debt to make it work. So this is kind of like, it's like my friend. It's like my friend, my best friend. I tell him like, hey, bro, why you always need to play things down? Like when we play, pool, it's like, I'm not even trying. It's something like that. Anyway, it says here, we wanted to go out with a bang. Now I'm famous for it, so no complaint. Well, yes, we made a video about you, and that is on YouTube. That got a lot of views. I don't really have any strong opinions on this, but I think there is, there's no denial that their faction is the authoritarianism, and he didn't even deny it. He didn't even deny that, yeah, we are not authoritarianism, but it seems like, it is really that they are authoritarianism. They really try to impose certain things in which they stumbled upon a big wall that did not succeed with their approach. Now they're going to a different kingdom, and maybe their approach will change, and they cannot be an authoritarianism group anymore. Now, that's only my point of view from what I've seen in here. I'm sure they are going to disagree, but for the evidence that we have seen, seems to be that way, that they are authoritarianism, and they try to impose a certain rule, but did not succeed in 2953. So with that being said, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below what you guys actually think really happened within this kingdom, and what do you think is going to happen in the future for this kingdom. Do you think this kingdom will succeed and become one of the best kingdom in this realm as they structure and get like-minded people? And with that being said, rockers, consider subscribing, liking to the video. When you subscribe, you are going to definitely get more contents, because I feel like this kingdom has a lot to offer, and I want to really focus on looking into this kingdom. This 2953. It's a very interesting start, and it might have a very interesting story along the way. So we might be following this as much as we can and see how the progression of this kingdom. So once they open up migration, you guys can definitely reach out to them. If you guys want to get to know them, feel free. Don't just migrate just because you see them on YouTube, but migrate with talking to the certain people in a kingdom and get to know the people before you go. With that being said, rockers, thank you guys for watching. Smash like. I'll see you again next time.